thank you all for joining. Just a quick introduction to me. My name is Greg Dzurinda. I am the Director of Product Management here at Pearsoft. I have been with the company now, it's actually coming up on 7 years, I think, here soon. And I've been through many parts of the organization. I think for some of you, I may have implemented your PaperSave environment for you way back in the day. But I have also 2 years uh, um, of experience being a client of PaperSave. So I did a PaperSave implementation for Dynamics GP, and that client is still actually using our product today. So just a quick agenda. So we're gonna do a brief introduction of what is PaperSave for those of you that that may not own PaperSave yet. We're gonna talk a little bit about what is PaperSave Cloud, what exists up there, what are some of the benefits, and then we're gonna go through some of our top PaperSave features and functionalities that exist within our cloud environment, and we're gonna see some demos of that as well. And then we'll have some time at the end for some Q&A. So, a brief overview of PaperSave. So at its core, it is a document management solution, but with some additional functionalities that we add, it can also get you a AP or gift automation solution. We've got some OCR components to help eliminate some of that data entry. We also have a payment solution, which we'll talk about very briefly, as well as a procurement solution too. So PaperSave will integrate with your ERP or your CRM system pretty tightly. So we actually have a component that we install with that solution that will allow you to add and view documents against records right from within your ERP. We also pull data out of your ERP just for us to use for certain field lookups, things like that, so that we are utilizing that ERP data for some of those automations that we talked about. So, what are some of the benefits of going to cloud? So for those of you that are still on our PaperSave on-premise solution, right, you may start to notice now that some of those on-premise solutions are becoming quite costly, right? The cost of having that physical hardware on-premise, you got the cost of the licenses for the server environment, the SQL environment, and then just the cost to maintain, right? All the updates that you have to do to keep that system up and running. One of the other good benefits here too is just improved security. So we do quite a lot of security audits on our side. We also have some things that we're certified in as well. So if you reach out to your security team, you can let them know that we have our SOC 2 compliance. They should know what that is in case you don't. But that is something that we pride ourselves in. Our mobile component is another good reason why you should move to cloud. For those of you that are currently on premise, you may use the mobile device, but it can be challenging sometimes to get that exposed outside of your network. It also, opens up some security concerns that your IT department may have as far as opening things up to the internet. With our cloud environment, right, that concern's not there anymore. So natively, you will get access to our mobile app, which will give you the ability to do a good portion of what our core product does, but from anywhere and on virtually any device. The backup and recovery, so that kind of goes back to my first point there. So backups can be pretty costly to back up those databases, especially your existing PaperSave database could be terabytes in size at this point, right? So that's something that we can handle for you. You don't have to worry about that anymore. we are constantly pushing out like updates to our PaperSave cloud environment, whether that is like bug fixes or new features and like enhancements. We also have an updated UI for PaperSave Cloud, which you'll see here like in a minute. It's much more like responsive and like also more modern. So one other a key metric that we wanted to point out here is that like there's some studies out there that show like when like businesses migrate to the cloud, they see fewer security like incidents than if you were to leave that system on premise. So it's definitely something to like consider if you are still like on PaperSave on prem. So let's dive into some of the features and functionalities. So let's talk about OCR first. So our like OCR product is when we are like reading those invoices or those checks, and we are auto-populating some fields for you within our product. So like we do that to capture things like on like the invoice side, the vendor, the invoice number, the amount, the date, PO number, right? Some of the basic field information that you would need to then do data entry into whatever ERP that you may be connected to. We also have the ability to OCR some other fields, right, that may not be some of those standard fields. And it's something that you can set up relatively quickly all by yourself. So let me actually dive into PaperSave, and we're going to take a look at that. So this is what our new PaperSave home screen looks like for those of you that are on premise. This is the like equivalent of your application start page. But this is where you can access all of the areas of our PaperSave cloud. I am going to go into our workflow, and I am going to add a new item into one of these workflows. I'm going to go into this workflow here, and I'm going to click new, and I'm going to drag and drop an invoice in. So what's happening right now is we are actually performing OCR on that invoice. So like we are looking for those fields like the vendor, the invoice number, the invoice date, and amount. And so like that process can take a couple seconds, right? But also like after we perform OCR, we're also performing some automations for you as well. So so you'll notice due date auto-populated as well, because we are pulling the default terms that are set up for this vendor that it found and calculating the due date based off of the invoice date that it found, right? That's one example of some of the automations that we do. There are many others. But you'll see here that OCR filled in all of these field values here. And if I click on one of those fields, it will actually show me where it found it on that document here. So I will go ahead and click on the invoice number there, and then the amount, which it pulled all the way down here. Here's another like example of some of those automations, right? We are checking for things like duplicates within your ERP to make sure you're not doing double data entry, right? All right, so let me add one more, because we do have some capabilities to like OCR some other types of documents, right? Like everything doesn't have to be that nicely formatted document. So you'll see here we have this like receipt looking thing. It does still have some of the standard like standard headers on it, like the invoice number, like the invoice total, right? But it's not in your standard format, right? So like, we do have some capabilities of like pulling like data off of here. But let's say I really cared about the like account number here. Like I want to make sure that I capture this off of this hybrid like invoice every single time I get one. Maybe I get these invoices, like 10, 20 times a month for different accounts. And I want to make sure that I capture this account number somewhere. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on quick to capture, and I'm going to click into my comments field. I'm going to go ahead and just drag a box around that value there, and it's going to automatically populate that field right there. And then I want to teach it. So I'm going to go ahead and go up to this button here, click Learn Document by Key, and I'm going to highlight a key. So basically what's that saying is like every time you see that hybrid text there, you'll find the account number right down here. And I'm going to click OK. so that next time I add a like Highbridge like invoice, it's going to automatically pull in that account number for me and populate that comments field. And we'll just give that a quick second to show that actually happening, and we'll move on. There it goes. Okay. Now, I'm going to go back to the slides here. So the next feature that I want to call out is the ability to locate documents outside of your ERP. So we all know that licenses for your like ERP software can be quite expensive, right? Also, training all of your end users on how to use that system may not be necessary when all they may need to do is find some documents, right? So if we do have the ability to like access like those documents that are in like PaperSave without having to go through the ERP. So if I go back into PaperSave and I'm going to go ahead and go back to the home page, I have the ability here to go to our PaperSave browse area. So browse is going to show you all of the documents that exist within PaperSave. Now there is some security like configurations here as far as who has access to this, but it will show you though all of the documents as well as some basic information that exists within the ERP. So right now I am drilled into our like Business Central application here, and I drilled into purchasing and purchase invoice. So this is showing me all of the purchase invoices that exist within PaperSave. You'll see there's 754 of them in here. From here, I can search. So maybe I want to find all invoices for international business. Okay. And there's all the international like business invoices. I can select these and I can like export this list to Excel. Most of these grids that we have here, you do have the ability to export. And I'm going to go ahead and just open up that export file. And you'll see here all of that information that we showed on the screen, as well as clickable links to be able to open up like those documents as well. Now, like one of the other like options to pull the same bit of information is maybe I want to do a like different kind of search. So let's go to our search area. So we have a simplified search, right, where I can just type in a phrase and we're searching a lot of things. We're searching like any like value from the ERP that may match that search criteria, but also like any data that exists in PaperSave, as well as document content for some of those documents that would have been added within the last year. So if I search for international business, you'll notice I get a lot more documents back, and I get different kinds of documents, right? We have like vendor documents, we have like documents across different, like systems here, right? This is a very, you need to search for something really quickly and you have a good search terms. This is a great way to just quickly run that search and find that document. If you want something a little more advanced, right, I can drill in here. I can drill into Dynamics Business Central, purchasing, purchase invoice, and I can add a filter. So maybe I want to add a condition where vendor, I think I skipped past it. Yep, my vendor name starts with international business. And I click search, that'll bring up that same search that we saw earlier, right? Same thing, I can export to Excel. Like from here, I can also download all the content as well. So if you have somebody that's trying to find all the historical invoices, right, you can do that from here. You can also add multiple search criterias here. So maybe I only want documents that the like invoice date is less than, I have to go back pretty far because this is some demo data here, but maybe 2007, right? And I click search. That wasn't a very good date. Let me do 2009, I think is actually what I should be searching for there. There we go. So that pulled all of the invoices that were for that date is less than 2009. All right. So next we're going to be talking about interrelated documents. So let's say you are on an invoice record and you're questioning like something, maybe the contract that you have with that vendor, maybe the terms that they put on the invoice just doesn't look right for that particular document. We have the ability to like navigate to like other like related documents from like within like PaperSave itself. So if I go back to browse and I do that same thing, maybe I'm looking at these international like business invoices here, and I go ahead and select one of these items here. I can click on view like related documents here, or sorry, view like interrelated documents. When I do that, like PaperSave knows that there are relationships between certain types of records. So there are like relationships between a like purchase invoice and a, a like vendor document or like a payment or things like that. So like it will then take me directly to like this list here, which is going to show me all of those related documents. And I'm just going to go ahead and quickly refresh my browser here. There we go. So here are all of these documents now. So like this is the invoice that I had selected, and these are some vendor documents that are like related to like that same vendor. So I can look here, I can pull up the contract and look, oh yeah, they did send me the wrong terms, and then you can go fix that, right? So like that's just one example. We have like relationships pre-configured across multiple different types. All right, we also have very flexible workflow options too. So let's say you have, something else that you need to route through some sort of automated process. Like maybe you have some HR documents or some IT documents that you want to route through some sort of approval process or just some structured like workflow, like just to keep something organized, right? We have the ability to build custom workflows within our product. Like those custom workflows I see for like maybe contract management or like project management, those sort of things. There are many different options here. So like if you've got another process that you want to include in PaperSave, just reach out to your like account manager or your like sales manager, and we will go ahead and see what we can do there. But just to give you like a look of how that like can be, this is a really complex workflow that goes through many different steps, like many different conditions on where things route. It's very flexible of how that may work. Okay. So next on the list, we have our full procure to pay solution. So we now have a procurement solution, right? So for those of you that don't know what that is, if you have like members of your organization that needs to like purchase something, it may need to go through some approval process before they can purchase those goods. Like that's what a procurement system is really meant to manage. So just a quick look at our procurement solution, right? This is a like quick look at our homepage. You can have some like catalogs set up so that you can really structure what people can order. We also have some integrations with like what are called punch out catalogs. So like this will take you directly to Amazon where you can add stuff directly from Amazon, and then it will not order those items until they're fully approved within our system. So if I just open up one of these catalogs, let's say I'm hiring a like new like team member and I need to order them a laptop, need to order them a like portable monitor because they're going to be traveling, but then a like regular monitor for when they're at home, right? That go ahead and it adds it to the cart. Like when I'm all done with the order, I can go ahead and create the requisition. and that creates the like requisition here. There's some like default values here when it comes to the ERP that they have the ability to change, or they can just send it out for the approval, and it'll go out and like get those approvals here. And I'll see all of my previous like requisitions that I've submitted as well. That's a very quick, high-level overview of our like procurement solution. We are happy to do more like demoing of that if you would like. We also have a payment solution. Now, like I'm not going to demo that one here, but basically, if you already have an AP like invoice like automation process, or like if you're like getting ready to set one up, we also have the ability to pay those invoices as well. So you'll route those invoices through some approval process. We will go ahead and get those entered into the ERP. But then once they're entered, then they go to a holding step where we wait for you to tell us when you want to pay those invoices. Once you're ready to pay those invoices, we will go ahead and process that payment, send it to the vendor, create the payment inside of your ERP, and make sure that we apply it to that invoice record. At a high level, that's what it is. We also help you with onboarding all of your vendors to make sure that they're set up with us, with all of our different payment methods. We can pay with virtual card, EFT, check. So like we should be able to handle all of the vendors that you have. All right, and then an honorable like mention here, you kind of saw it earlier, but those export options to Excel are a great way to just get some raw data out of PaperSave. So if you need to do like accruals at the end of the month or something like that, you can very easily filter your workflow down to just those open items, do an export, and easily filter out like what you need to make your journal entry. All right. And that takes us to Q&A. We got about 7 minutes, I believe.
Thanks so much, Greg. We had one question come in so far, and then we had a few that were emailed ahead of time. So everyone, as we're going with this, feel free to type more in the Q&A box. The first one is, does this work with GP's analytical accounting?
Yeah, so currently we do not natively support GPs like analytical accounting, no. And also, like I'm assuming at some point you're going to be migrating off of GP. So hopefully that's something that wherever you move to, right, like we would be able to support you there as well. And it's something that the ERP can do natively, right? Like we do support something similar, which is done in Business Central. Like that can help with that. So.
Great. And then we just got one in, can PaperSave OCR work for packing slips utilized in receiving?
It can, yes. Just we'd have to take a look at some of those samples, right? And just make sure that there's something that we can read, that there's some good like keywords on there that we can look for, and also that that the positioning of those values don't change. But there's definitely some like customers out there that do OCR the packing slips just to pull some basic information off and help with some of like that data entry. Yes.
We're getting a lot more in, which is great.
Yeah.
Do we, and this current customer asking, do we have to change to the cloud or can we stay on-prem?
So at some point, right, just like any other, like software company out there that had an on-prem version that moved to cloud, at some point we are going to get rid of our like on-prem solution or sunset that version, right? We don't have any solid plans on that yet, which I think goes to our next question is when is PaperSave 6 going away? We don't have any solid dates yet on when we're going to sunset that version. We will give you plenty of time when that time comes, though. So like not days, weeks, or months. We're talking years, like until we're, like going to like actually sunset that. But still, great time now though to move to PaperSave 7.
True, we might have some deals coming up this summer, so everyone stay tuned. You'll be notified about them anyway. And thank you for answering that other question. Good eagle eye. The next one is, would we need to retrain the software on changing over to the cloud version?
I'm assuming you're talking about your OCR documents. If you've done some training already in your on-prem version, that will translate over to the cloud version, so you won't have to redo those.
And then do we use a separate OCR system, or is it built into PaperSave in the background?
So we utilize a Microsoft product to host our OCR, and everything with our cloud environment is hosted in Microsoft. We are a big Microsoft shop, so but it is baked into our product though. So yes.
Then we just got another one. If we move to the cloud, does it keep all of our current documents attached to the transactions?
Yep. So your cloud migration process is going to be that you're going to give us your on-prem PaperSave database, and then we will just spin that up within our cloud environment after we upgrade it, and then everything will still remain attached to the same records, just like before.
Nice. And then one that we got ahead of time, also everyone, you can feel free to ask a couple more since we do have a couple minutes. How quickly can we get up and running if we choose PaperSave and PaperSave 7 Cloud? What's the fastest time you've seen?
Oh, let's see. The fastest time I've probably seen is around the 4 to 6 week period. But it really depends because there are some activities that are going to be dependent on you, right? So it really just depends on your availability, where our services team is at currently with our product or our project backlog. Definitely have that conversation with your account manager, as well. Yep.
And then the final one, and then we'll end it after this to be mindful of everyone's time. Are the data centers US based, or are there international options for compliance reasons?
Yep. So currently we have data centers in the US as well as Canada and Australia. Those are our current data centers.
Excellent. Well, thank you again for everything, Greg. As always, you're a pro at this. And everyone else, if you have more questions, you will receive just a follow-up email after this with the recording as well to share. And like Greg is displaying, if you want a deeper dive into PaperSave 7 Cloud, you can get a free personalized demo at our website. So thanks again, everyone, for your time, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.